the audience, and then what are your cues when you know, I've got them back. We're good.
Again, knowing your audience, right? And remembering something of high value to one or more people in the audience. And you speak about that first. That's your opener, right? Because then they're going, oh, oh, this is what I'm here for. I told him about that. Boom. And that reaction sends a wave through the entire audience, and they're not even aware of it. They're stopping their talking. They're on their phones and they look up, put the phone by, what did he just say? Right. And I don't correct jokes at the beginning. I'm not a comedian. I don't get paid for that. You know, once in a while, I'll do something funny, but it's because I know most of the audience will react to it as funny. If I don't know, I never do it. Okay, because it will fail, and then you've lost your audience. They go, "Oh, here's another knucklehead. Let me
When
check
you
my
try to
email."
when you try to force humor, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because they know it. You know,
Yeah.
I've
You
sat
can
out in the
say it.
audience before, and a big name speaker come out on stage and open up with a joke, and not that many people in the audience said anything. They most went, "Oh," like that's a no, man. If they laugh, they laugh. But if they go, "Oh," that's bad news, you know.
Right.
And now you've got to be really good to get your audience back because you just failed. So that can be a learning lesson or it can be a learning lesson. Okay. Why do I say it that way? There is no fail until you stop. So whenever something happens to you, you learn from what happened. And when it goes right, everything can't be more perfect. You stop and analyze that as well. How can I reproduce it? Okay. So you learn or you learn.
I think if more people got that, they wouldn't fear quote unquote failure quite so much, right? That every time you have an up, it's a learning. It's okay, this worked. This all, aligned, everything worked. Every time you have a down, it's a learning because okay, maybe we shouldn't go this direction or my audience just isn't ready for this. So if you look at it like that instead of successes and failures, learning and learning, that is changes the whole narrative within you, and you don't fear any of the journey, any of the cadence of a career. The highest, most successful speakers have had bombs, right? Well, it was learning. It was something that they know that they won't repeat. Or now they've got strategies that should that thing happen again, they know how to rebound a little bit stronger and a little bit better. You talk to some pretty tough crowds. You have been amongst world leaders. You were a peace ambassador for the UN. And some of these tactics, I'm sure you picked up from other world leaders who you have to engage with an audience, right? You've got to capture their hearts if they're going to support the thing that you are about or trying to achieve. About 10 years ago, please correct me if I get any part of this incorrect. You developed a system, and I'm going to read it because I never get it quite right. Repetitive behavior, cellular regression. You're the father of RBCR. Where did it come from? Like, why did you were even compelled to develop this? And I know that hundreds of lives have been helped since developing it. So, where did it come from? What spurred you to develop this process? What is it, and who is it for?
Well, thank you for that. I'm quite proud of the journey that it has created and the lives it saved. Back when I first started speaking today, told you I was a helper. Okay. And very not that many people know that I'm a commissioned Stephen minister. It's an international ministry that helps people. Okay, it's non-denominational and helps people in time of severe stress or end of life or those kinds of things. And well, it was 2009. I was on Facebook with a Facebook friend who was in Australia, and I was in upper Midwest of the United States. And her comments back and forth, I asked her if she'd like to come on Messenger and we can talk because I was concerned about her. And so we did that for a little bit. And I said, "Do you have Skype?" She says, "Yeah, let's come up on Skype. Let's talk." And so we did. And she told me her life story in and out of psych hospitals. Her family won't talk to her. Her daughter would not allow her to come to her wedding, just a lot of stress and tragedy in their life. And so as a minister, I would help her as I could reflect on it, what she's thinking at any one time. We would get so far all the time. This was every week we did this for about an hour, hour and a half. And we get so far and it would just stop. We couldn't go further. And one night, after we've been doing this for over a month, one night, I just got a hunch, came from nowhere. Now, I know the number one sense of your five senses to trigger memory recall is sight. Okay. So I asked her, "Do me a favor, let's try something. I don't know where it's going to go, but it just might work." And she says, "Okay, let's do it," because she trusted me a lot at that point. So she closed her eyes and I said, not counting where you are in your apartment right now, just go back to a memory, any kind of memory where you smell something and tell me where you are, how old are you, and what you smell, nothing else. And she did. And when we got back there, I started asking her to use her five senses to go through the memory without the story of the memory or the tragedy of the memory, because usually they bring up a bad one. Okay. And I assured her that there are no good memories, there are no bad memories, they're just memories. Mm-hmm. How we react to them is everything. Because we're all born with the already established personality. And as we age, we become witness to various stimuli in this world that will affect the way we react and act to it. And that's really how we learn. So we got through that. I started working with her a couple of hours almost every day for about 3 months. And we found an amnesic-like memory. She didn't have any memory of it until we found it, of a situation that happened to her when she was only a year old, okay, of high emotional value. And what happens to her then, she has no speaking skills, so she can't tell mom and dad this just happened, right, and scared her to death. And so there's a thing in our bodies, it's a protection system called amnesia. When you cannot process something of high emotion, it blocks it for you. It blocks off the neural pathway that you were using back to that area of your brain, which also blocks all the other memories to that area of your brain. And as you get older, we go through the terrible twos and the wisecracker liar fives and all of those kinds of things. Your amnesia gets craftier and craftier about how to deflect. Okay, so by the time you get up to adult age, when you get triggered, you know you're triggered, your body knows you're triggered, but it doesn't know that it was a bad trigger or a good trigger. It's just a trigger. But the deflection system says, okay, make sure that I protect that memory you don't want to remember. I'm going to make you wear this over and over and over again. The more you do it, the more excited you get. The amnesia doesn't know if it's good or bad, so it keeps you going. So you have this thing that won't shut off in your head when you get triggered. Now, our process using the five senses, we go back here to the base of the brain where the five senses are, using a new roadway back there. And we literally work our way forward from there. So when we get to the area of this blocked memory, we're walking in the back door of it where it's not being protected. And here's where the key to this whole thing really took off. You're not scared. You're just there. You're calm, you know, and you see what happened, and you get to chew them out verbally. Can't throw things, can't do anything. Just work out all of this anxiety for all these years of suffering. So she did. And then we came back to present, and we followed that for a couple of months, and she had no triggers. Her mental state had stabilized. She was back in with that original personality she was at 1 year old, and it was an amazing thing. And so I started writing down what all I did in case I can do it again. But that's how it was born, just helping somebody. It was something that came to mind based on me watching murder mysteries and all those kinds of things and remembering what was going on. So I knew about the senses. Taste is huge too, but we won't go into that today. So that's where this process came from. And over the following years, as my wife and I got a company going in 2012, I decided that our clients are going to go through that process before they go through any of our training and coaching, so that if they do have something back there that it will self-destruct, we'll neutralize it and take it away, and they'll be far more successful. So we started doing that. And then over the next 3 or 4 years, we further developed it into what it is today, almost a decade later. And we've got it down to about a 3-hour process. We use Zoom now. We don't hardly ever use Skype. It's complicated to use. And we help them find that lost memory and neutralize it so it doesn't bother them anymore. Stop suicide ideation. I had a veteran come to me almost ready to pull the trigger. 3 hours later, he was perfectly relaxed. Within 6 months, ladies and gentlemen, this Army veteran had no guns in his house. They were gone. You don't need them. Okay. So, and that was 8 years ago now, and he's still fine.
Wow.
So,
So it's one and done, like for that hiccup in your timeline.
exactly. And then where it goes from there, we teach him if something else, we're humans. We got emotions. Something else of high emotional value happens to you after the session. What you do with it in 7 to 8 seconds will neutralize the effects of that emotion. So their one and done really stays.
You say high emotional value instead of trauma or other things. That sounds intentional?
It is very intentional because not everyone relates to trauma. What they think of with the word trauma is an attack or those kinds of things. But we found we're in 6 continents, 13 countries, 27 U.S. states now. And what we found, all of my practitioners, is when they get to that point of enough is enough, then they're really ready for us. And when they go through this process and they really get it that they can control the future, then they're completely in. And it's beautiful to watch. It's really beautiful to watch.
Do you find, is this kind of just not discriminant, meaning these kinds of I'll call them hiccups because I don't know what else to call them, is indiscriminate of race, social, economics, or do you find it's more pervasive in high achievers or comedians, or where there's something that they're trying to compensate for because they don't want to face the thing?
Great question. Great question. The demographic of our clients worldwide is non-high school graduates to PhDs, men, women, all 4 of the principal races, okay? Veterans, non-veterans, combat veterans, non-combat veterans. from all walks of life. Okay. This is something happened way back before you had a language to describe it. And it's not always an attack. You see something you don't understand. One of my clients at 3 months old witnessed a car run over a dog that she liked, and she didn't know how to handle it. Right? She cried and everything. Mom and dad picked her up and got her to stop crying, but she created an amnesic memory from that, and it really affected her the rest of her life. Now, when we went back and she was able to neutralize the driver who was driving the car, who probably got real scared and drove off quickly because he didn't know what to do. Um, that's completely neutral. And that's it had no attack on her, but it was high emotional. So, in order for us to be as neutral as we can, it's a memory of a situation of high emotional value.
This is so good. And you have to neutralize it. So if we just have a pattern in our life, we're like, oh, I wasn't going to be here again. This just wasn't going to happen again. Is it likely that there's some sort of amnesiac? Is that what you said?
Amnesic, yes.
Amnesic thing
Mhm.
in there that you just have no clue that is there, and your best efforts is not going to be able to sort of force yourself past it until you face the thing. Is that fair to say, or
I'm one of those people.
okay?
I have lived a life of self sabotage, extreme success, sabotage, and failure. Repeat, repeat. And I've always believed my whole adult life that there's something that's causing that. It's not me doing this to myself over and over and over again. So when I finally got a practitioner good enough to take on the big guy, we were able to find out a memory of me being assaulted at 3 months old.
Wow.
And to preface that, ladies and gentlemen, I have a photo that's very dear to me now of my father holding me at 3 months old. And I absolutely would not believe that that was me, would not believe that was me because that photo was taken before the assault.
Mhm.
So it was locked away. So after we opened it all up and we were ready to be there, I not only recognized the fact that I was in my dad's arms, I could feel it,
Mm.
but I knew that my aunt took the picture.
Wow.
My aunt
And you're
took the picture.
3 months old,
And
or
you can't see my aunt in that photograph because
wow.
that was 1953, folks. There was no selfies. Okay. So yeah, and because it has no boundaries, we're constantly seeing something. Now, there's a master practitioner and myself are talking to two different people who lost their hearing after the birth of a child, and they can find no physical reason why that happened. So they're considering going through our CR process as an example to see if we can find what caused the loss and give them back their hearing. Whoa, would that be a biggie?
That would
Another
be
one that's been a real amazing surprise to us is a lifelong alcoholic. Went to 5 AA meetings a week because he needed to be there. They needed this support. When he went through the CR process and found out what had happened to him, it wasn't to him, he observed it. Okay. Um, he goes to AA once in a while to help other people. He don't go there for himself anymore.
wow.
And this has been 7 years now. So
One and
this
done.
is
That's what's
powerful.
so fascinating. Yeah,
Mhm.
one and done. And it's likened to me, my applied kinesiologist, my chiropractor, right? If you go in with a sore knee or an elbow that keeps going out or what have you, he can say, "Oh, at 7 years old, did you have an accident?" "Oh yeah, I fell off my bike," and or sometimes it can be an emotional uh I don't want to say trauma. I want to say what you said, high emotional value incident.
Hmm. Yep.
And I'm just like, how can you even know that? It's because your cells have memories. You may not have those memories, but your cells have memories. So that's on the physical side. You're talking more about the emotional, the spiritual, but it's all related, right? We're so incredibly made that one thing can't happen without affecting the other. So let's talk a little bit about stage fright. Like, why can one person get up on a stage and they're fine? They're just themselves. It's just like you and me talking, and they can impart the information, and it's about the audience. And another person can get on there and they can hardly remember their name. Do you think that your CR process could help somebody like that? Because for speakers and, let's say, high level executives, sometimes presenting has everything to do with success. Um, and accomplishing the dreams that you want for your life.
Yeah, great question. The answer to that is yes. And here's why. Something happened back there that triggered your ability to, maybe you were dancing as a child in the living room and somebody called you stupid or yelled at you and told you to go sit down, and it affected you. Okay. So later on in life, when it's your turn to get up in front of somebody or a room or whatever, subconsciously that trauma affects you and you all of a sudden get afraid and you really don't know why. Okay. But once you find that and neutralize it, your odds of stepping up on the stage are greatly increased. Like I mentioned earlier, if you know people in the audience, it gives you confidence as well. There's my friends out there. I just met them. They're really nice people. And you step out far more confidently and more under control. Now, does it work every time? No, not really. But the more you do it, the easier it is. You know, you ought to see that my YouTube channel, my early videos. Boy, they're nasty. They're just, oh, I didn't say that, or I wasn't doing this, or whatever. Oh my God! But they were all learning experiences. You get better. That's like 500 videos ago. You know, I'm real good at them now.
Well, there's a difference between honing your craft and getting better and just that crippling fear, right? What are we
Mhm.
afraid of? Those are just people who are there actually to hear what it is that you have to offer. Why can one person get up there and it can be all about the audience, and they can impart the information as if we were sitting across the table and I was imparting it to you. And others, as soon as they see that sea of faces, it's just like shut down. They're shut. That's a physical reaction where they can't get the words out. Their brain isn't functioning in the right way. And I come across brilliant, brilliant people who their message needs to be heard. It needs to be heard. People are staying awake at night, waiting just for the solutions that they have locked up inside of them. But to get up on stage is like a nightmare that many people will not even fathom dealing with. I've heard it said time and time again that stage fright, like getting up on stage, is tantamount to like the loss of a loved one to some people. Like
Mhm.
it's 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 that rejected. And
Mhm.
I really believe that for whatever reason, that your body going into some sort of protective mode that you're unaware of and is unrealistic. So your CR process, it sounds like it might take more than one time, but how do you get down to, okay, this is because we all have thousands of things that happen to us in our lives that are negative or not negative, and but there are of high emotional value. How do you pinpoint it's that one is what is causing this thing to happen?
I don't. My client does.
Ooh.
When we go through three memories and inventory each memory with the five senses, we pay attention to what they say, how they say it, and what they are describing Like if you're sitting on the end of a dock at grandmother's and grandfather's lake cabin, but when you're in a memory, you smell at the lake cabin cotton candy. Maybe you do, but that doesn't add up. Or you can't remember, you remember everything to the right of you, but nothing to the left. There's a big indicator there. Something's missing. So we look for those and we make note of them. And as we go to the second memory and on to the third, we already understand approximately what's going on based on our own experience. Because all of us go through the CR process first. You can't, there's no better textbook in the world than your own life journey. Okay. So when we get to the end, we find that all those weird things add up. You know, like a kid molested at a carnival while she was eating cotton candy. You never know where that's going to come from, right? Or the person who can't remember anything on the left of their body, it's black. The reason why it was black is she was being sexually assaulted every day when she got put down for her nap. And they put a black curtain over the window so it'd be dark and she could take her nap.
Mm.
Before Grandpa left the room, they play secret. So you never know how this is going to come out. You just play the cards that are dealt to you and allow our subconscious to help us come back there and help them find the event that they're looking for and neutralize it.
Would you say like there's always, as we wind down, because gosh, I can talk about this for another hour. This is so fascinating to me because I don't think there's one human that hasn't had something happen in their life where there's a hiccup in there that if they could just find a practitioner like you, face it, then they can go to that next level that they've just been pounding, they just hit a wall when they try to reach that next level of relationships, life,
Yeah.
liking themselves.
What's really key here, Antoinette, is they don't know the memory. They can't, they don't know the memory exists because it's in him protected by amnesia. So anything that they think is the reason why they are the way they are, it's not.
So if they
That's
just think I'm a
important to
failure at
know.
relationships, it may not be that. It's that resistance to something that happened.
And it's just related. It couldn't, if you're 6 months old, how are you having a relationship? But there's something that's keyed to the love of another person that happened to them at the early age, that they're now subconsciously afraid of that full commitment to another person. See, it's more complicated than that. We take in a couple of million memories a day. So there's plenty back there to find. But there is one. And our clients find them every single time.
Wow. If somebody's interested in really diving deeper into this, do you have a website, a group? How do they get a hold of you to learn more about it?
All the above. Ladies and gentlemen, if you Google Terry Earthwind Nichols, there's one in the world. I'm real easy to find. We do have a website, evolutionaryhealer.com. I'm on all social media. I'm very easy to find and to reach out to. I have various links on different social media, whatever. You can click on and get 15-minute confidential Zoom chat with me. And I do it with Zoom and not phone because I want to watch you. I want to see what you're doing while we're talking to
Hmm.
help me help you.
I can't think of one human being who has lived on planet Earth that this couldn't help in some way, right? It could be something that's very minor, or it could be something that's really holding you back in a big way. Um, as we kind of wind this down, is there is there something we can do just as individuals to take a step back, maybe look at some patterns in our lives? Because obviously the first step is recognizing that, hey, maybe I do need to grab somebody to help me with this thing. What can we do to say, ooh, maybe there's a need here to go a step further?
Right. In every one of my presentations, I take somebody through this definition of repetitive behavior. When you make a conscious decision, either to do something and not do it and can't follow it up, two or more times, you have a repetitive behavior. Okay. There's a reason why you can't follow up. And that's when you look up to us. You go on my website, find my white papers. You can deep dive into the science of my trademarked RBCR. But that's the key. If it keeps happening to you, there's a reason why, and it's not a conscious reason.
So let's just say something simple, like you have really tried to do a morning routine. Like you've written it out, you've gone to all the morning routine classes, and you really love the mornings. You want to get a handle on your mornings. And 2 days in, it always kind of falls flat. Is that more of a discipline thing, or could that be something deeper?
It could be something deeper. Um, I I tell people, as soon as you get up, make your bed. You've now successfully accomplished something in your day. Now, it's not real hard to do. But psychologically, it's powerful. Make a bed. And then when you look at the mirror for the first time and the hair is all over the place, and you just made your bed, you know, well, we better do something with that hair pretty quick, and then start brushing your teeth because you've done something that's going to change the way you look at the day. Does it happen every day? No, but it'll help. Make
Success.
bed. I
Yeah.
do.
Success begets success. That is so simply brilliant, right?
Mhm.
Success begets success. And I think one of the things that happened in the lockdown is that people lost their reason to get themselves freshened up and do the thing. But the ones who kept their routines, who got up, made their bed, brushed their teeth, put real clothes on, weren't in their pajamas all the time, there's studies that show they fared a lot better through the whole process just by those acts of intentionally caring for yourself, right? Intentionally doing positive things just for the sake of doing them, not because you have to, because you're going to be going to school or going to an office, but just because you care. So I can really see how the power of that can just really translate into the whole rest of your day.
Yeah, and another big thing that people get into a rut from, they look businessy on the top, but they got their shorts on and flip-flops on. Psychologically, you're not in the game. You're not in that meeting. Right now, I'm ready. I have my jewelry on, I have my shoes on, my pants. I'm ready to step out on stage before 2,000 people. And you get to see me uh, at the business May. I do this with a lot of groups that I've been in. I says, you guys are doing yourselves a very high disfavor by not being fully present psychologically before you hop on to business meetings or anything like that. Dress the part, be in it, and be ready, and you'll enjoy it more, and the people or persons that you're talking to will enjoy you more.
That is so key. Thank you for bringing that up because as speakers now, our opportunities aren't just on stages. This is a stage. This can be a very lucrative stage, definitely a very impactful stage. So take it as seriously. Why would we not take this as seriously as stepping up onto a physical stage? It's all about the mindset, right? The value that you're placing into the action you're about ready to take. You're basically telling your whole body, hey, this isn't that important. Wear your, I don't know, shorts or whatever down beneath. They're not going to see it, but your body knows. And that's really key. You show up differently when you're dressed the part, right?
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a brilliant place to end. Sometimes we talk about subjects that might not seem directly related to furthering your speaking career, but that's not the case today. And it's not ever going to be the case with somebody that I intentionally bring on to this show. Ambassador Terry Nichols. Um, And can you just, is it Ambassador Terry Earthwind Nichols all the time, or what's your shortened version, or is it all?
A lot of people call me Ambassador Terry, and that's
Ambassador
fine.
Terry.
You know,
So
friends call me Terry. They variances of Nichols. Hey, Earthwind, come here. I want to ask you something. You know,
I'll never
I'm
say,
a
hey,
Native
you.
American, so that's my tribal name is Earthwind. So you
Wonderful.
know, there's variables. You know, if you wanted to go from a place of respect, if you see a title in front of somebody's name, give them the respect of saying that, like you do. You're very respectful for that, and I appreciate it. And the people that you say that to will very much appreciate you, and they're going to pay attention to you because they know you understand.
Right, you've earned it. You've worked for it like a doctor.
Mhm.
I've had doctors tell me, "Oh, just call me, Fred or what have you." No, you earned the fact that you're a doctor. It's a hard-earned title. And so I so appreciate your service and the devotion that you've put behind the work that you do. So definitely would never take that away from you. Um, what you brought to us today is so valuable just on a human level. But if you're really going to put yourself out there as a speaker and make it in a way where you are impacting thousands of, maybe countless lives, then you've got to be as whole as you can be, because it's not an easy space. You are in a vulnerable place when you get up in front of people and express the concepts that you have. So I just want to encourage everybody to take that seriously. Don't brush it aside. Don't think someday you'll deal with that thing, right? Or you'll take a second look. Um, Definitely go and check out what Ambassador Terry has. I think you said it was evolutionaryhealer.com, and just see, right? It doesn't hurt 15 minutes. Just even see if there's anything to explore. If you want your career to go the next level, do whatever you can. If you're serious and you want to be a professional, don't leave any rock unturned, right? Do whatever you can to get yourself to the strongest, most able level, because the better you do, the better you get to do, right? You get the more good you do, the more good you get to do. So if you're serious and you're a pro, and I know my audience, they're high achievers, they're here because they do want to make a big difference and they want to be successful in what they do. So thank you for bringing your concepts and your transformative strategies to us. And I so appreciate this time you've spent with us.
Thank you. I knew this was going to be great.
So hopefully we'll get to see you again. And for everybody else, ciao, ciao for now.
Bye.